we got a couple of good ones here. I think this one, I was going to ask you about this as well, because this is something that guys struggle with. This is kind of like step 2. Is here, once you approach, how do you create attraction and not make it boring, friendly conversation? So how do you build that like sexual tension instead of it being, you know, the interview questions and stuff?
Sure. So you got to get good at playing and having fun. Whenever I'm talking to a new girl, I'm having fun. I'm teasing her. I'm learning more about her, which I find to be fun as well too. I'm leading the conversation, and you know, I'm finding out what she's doing, what she's up to, and making plans, and trying to figure out if we have anything in common or any shared interests and stuff like that. So I'm doing all of that stuff at once. That's usually enough to build a lot of attraction. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what you say, but as long as you're a guy who, number one, makes them feel comfortable. Comfort is actually more important than attraction. A lot of people don't know that. The biggest reason why women aren't going on dates with you or hooking up with you is because, well, I mean, there's probably an attraction problem there too. Like most guys just aren't attracted to women. But I would say fear is a bigger factor in there, because when you first walk up to a girl, she's afraid of you. You're bigger than her. You can fuck her up if it comes down to it. She doesn't know if you're crazy. So she's going to be fearful right after that. So first, make her feel comfortable. Then I would say show leadership. On top of that, kind of like leading the conversation, teasing her, being the man. Okay, if the man to woman connection is the man leads, the woman follows. That's the man to woman connection. Okay, if you're not leading and she's not following you, she's not going to fuck you. Plain and simple. So if you're leading the conversation and she's following along with it, that means you're building up attraction with her. And after you make her feel comfortable with you, pretty much smooth sailing from there. And the way that I do that is I introduce a little bit of fun and playfulness to keep it going. That's the fuel that's powering everything, is the fun. It's like the car is like, this is probably going to be the shittiest analogy of all time. The fuel is the playfulness and the flirtation that's going on and the teasing and all that stuff. But the car is moving in, the man's driving the car and the woman's in the car. Like that's basically kind of how it is.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Mention that. I think a lot of the guys also don't know how to do that though, the fun and the flirtation. What are some kind of things that they could say or do? Because you know, again, like when I'm working with guys, I'll be spying on their interaction. It'll be like, hey, so where are you from? Oh, and what do you do for work? Oh, and do you like that? And do you have any sisters? It's like, it's not fun. It's like, you know, girls just want to have fun.
Okay, so usually this is like an example of a typical interaction that I'll have. So I'll walk up, I'll maybe comment on something that she has. If I don't, like, let's say I can't think of something creative like that. Like a lot of times she's wearing a certain bag that I've seen that maybe she got from a festival or something like that. I don't know. So like I'll walk up and I'll be like, oh, did you get that bag from like Envision Festival? And she goes, oh, what? No, I got this bag from somewhere else. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. You look like you would have gotten that bag from Envision Festival. She's like, well, why? What's Envision Festival? And I'm like, oh, you're going to love this. Envision Festival is a festival in Costa Rica. It's like, you know, most festivals are like Burning Man's in the desert. This is in the jungle right on the beach. And yeah, when I first walked up to her, I was like, this girl's definitely been to Envision Festival. And she's like, well, why did you think I'm from Envision Festival? We're like, well, look at you. Like, look what you're wearing. You know, like, you see how this conversation is being like more playful? I'm leading it. She's following my lead. Like, this is the kind of conversation that's going to get you laid. The typical asking the boring questions, not going to get there. Okay. And don't get me wrong. I ask boring questions all the time, but I don't make the question boring. You understand what I'm saying? So if I'm asking her where she's from, then she's like, oh, I'm from Tennessee. I'm like, no, you're not. There's no way you're from Tennessee. She's like, well, why? Like, because I can understand everything you're saying, girl. You speak way too clearly. There's no way, you know? So now you're teasing her a little bit about where she's from in a playful manner, positive manner. Okay. I turned your average everyday thing into something that's fun and playful, and where you're actually, you're leading it. You're pushing it in a certain direction. So that's one thing that you guys, if you guys are going to steal anything from this, just do some playful assumptions or have fun with it and tease. So yeah, I think that's one way of doing it. I mean, I have a whole list in the practical approaching system where it's like playful assumptions works, nicknames, you know, anything they say, you exaggerate it, you know, those kinds of things are just like fun stuff that I like to do in the conversation. that will turn it from something that's, you know, you're boring. Where are you from? What do you do? You know, how many members of people in your family? Like, into something that's actually going to get her to want to sleep with you.
Yeah, no, I think that's the best example that I've ever seen someone on the fly answer with that festival. Because who cares what the fucking festival is? It doesn't matter. It might even be a made up festival. It doesn't. But you're also very much leading because of the way that you're asking those questions and your reactions. It's like she has to respond now. There's no like, you know, it's not a drop. And I think that's just a great example of doing it. And you could really do that with anything. You could have said anything and just made it that way, and it would have worked the same. I think so. Yeah. I like that.
So I'll give even something better. If you guys want to add this thing that I usually add, if the conversation is getting kind of boring, do this. Be like, hey, random question. You know, are you, and then whatever you say after that doesn't matter. You can say like, you know, are you